the humble woman in the luxury showroom, a silent victory, and the transformation sparked by someone no one noticed. The soft morning light filtered through the white curtains, dancing across the deep brown wooden floor. In the elegant bedroom, Isabella Carter was carefully folding her favorite light blue blouse. Each movement was gentle, as though she were packing a part of her soul into that modest little suitcase. No lavish dresses, no expensive jewelry. Just a simple blouse, a cream-colored cardigan, and a few essential items. Just enough to be comfortable, just as she had always chosen for herself. Live not to please the gaze of others, but so as not to betray yourself. The sound of running water came from the bathroom, followed by the familiar teasing voice of her husband, Nathan. "Are you sure? Or should we go together tomorrow instead?" Isabella smiled, zipping up the suitcase with a crisp click. Her eyes sparkled with their usual mischief. "I have a spa appointment with Sophie, and besides, I want to stop by the new showroom before you arrive." Nathan stepped out, a towel around his waist, his salt and pepper hair glistening in the early light. At 48, he carried the composed aura of a man who had built an empire, Carter Auto Group, from nothing, and was now preparing to take over its newest gem, Lakeview Elite Motors. "But remember," Nathan said, his voice calm but firm, "no one there knows who you are. Not even the manager has met me." Isabella nodded, slinging her bag over her shoulder. "That's exactly what I want," she said softly, kissing his cheek. "Today, I'm just a regular customer. No titles, no spotlight." Nathan shook his head, but his eyes sparkled with love. She was still the woman he'd fallen in love with over 2 decades ago. Intelligent, honest, and always knowing where true value lies. Visiting your own showroom in disguise, huh? 15 years in customer service taught me well, Isabella winked. I want to see how they treat someone not wearing designer labels. Nathan chuckled, but deep in his eyes, a flicker of concern appeared. He understood his wife's essence, gentle, but never silent in the face of injustice. 3 hours later, Isabella's modest sedan came to a stop 3 blocks from the showroom. She checked her reflection in the rearview mirror. White blouse, light cardigan, hair neatly tied. No heavy makeup, no luxury handbag, nothing to hint at her true status. "Today, I'm just Isabella Carter," she whispered with a small smile. "A woman searching for the right car." She left her expensive purse in the car, locked the door carefully, and walked away. Her old flat shoes clicked gently against the morning rhythm of the city. The towering glass building of the showroom reflected the sunlight like a giant mirror, with cars inside gleaming like gemstones. Her heart raced, not from fear, but from instinct. In the brightest places often lie the coldest stairs. Isabella pushed open the revolving glass door. The blast of cold air conditioning greeted her like an icy welcome. And then, the first gaze landed on her. Not friendly, not professional, but judgmental, swift, sharp, and heavy. She kept her back straight, smiled, and walked toward the luxurious Avalon GT in the center of the showroom, unaware that in just minutes, her quiet morning would erupt into a storm that would change everything. The air inside the showroom was thick, with the scent of new leather, car polish, and ambition pressing against every breath. Isabella's footsteps echoed lightly on the white tile, a misplaced note in an unfinished symphony. She gently brushed her hand along the Avalon GT, a technical masterpiece, powerful yet refined, just like her, simple on the outside, a universe within. Some things look plain, but hold an entire cosmos inside. But the silence didn't last. She felt it. Distant glances, judgment, suspicion, half trust, half scorn. A tall man approached, navy blue suit, slicked hair, gleaming name tag, Jonathan Blake. "Good morning," he flashed a quick smile, one that didn't reach his eyes. His gaze swept over her simple cardigan, worn shoes, and outdated phone. No designer bag, no diamond ring, nothing that screamed prospective buyer. Isabella smiled gently. "Actually, I'm very interested in this model. I'm Isabella." Jonathan shook her hand, loosely, as if afraid of catching something. "This is the Avalon GT, high-end, quite expensive." He stressed high-end as if to say, "You should probably check out the cheaper models." Isabella remained calm. "This is the one I'd like to learn more about, and if possible, I'd like to register for a test drive. Jonathan hesitated. Of course. But this model starts at $120,000. I could show you some more practical options. Isabella smiled as if she hadn't heard the insult. No need. This is the car I'm here for. Jonathan reluctantly nodded. From afar, two other staff were trying to stifle laughter behind her back. An old bitterness rose inside her, like when she was a supermarket cashier, sneered at by silk-clad customers. Not today. Today I want to see who they really are. Jonathan's voice cut through the silence. For this model, we need financial verification before any test drive. For security reasons, I'm sure you understand. A velvet-wrapped dagger. Isabella let out a small laugh. She had expected this. Not the financial check, but the suspicious gaze, as if she were a thief. You may speak with our manager, Mr. Michael Thornton, to continue the process. Isabella nodded. Very well. Lead the way. Jonathan led Isabella to a glass office in the showroom's corner. Inside, she saw Michael Thornton, a middle-aged man with graying hair, a charcoal suit, and eyes as sharp as knives. Seeing the guest, Michael stood up and offered a professional, cold and calculated smile. What's the matter, Jonathan? Jonathan hesitated. He hadn't asked Isabella's last name. This is Ms. Isabella. She wants to test the Avalon GT. Michael nodded, voice flat. Hello, Ms. Isabella. Please have a seat. Isabella sat on the leather chair, cold and stiff. Jonathan remained beside her like a silent sentry. Michael clasped his hands and leaned back slightly. Ms. Isabella, the Avalon GT is a luxury model. Of course, we're honored by your interest, but we have certain security protocols we must follow. Isabella remained silent, waiting for him to continue. Michael leaned forward as if revealing something important. To test drive this car, we require financial verification, simple documents like bank statements, confirmation letters, or a temporary deposit. Isabella nodded. I can show you my account right now, she said, reaching for her phone. But Michael raised a hand. Before that, I think we should be honest with each other. That phrase, along with his scrutinizing look, chilled the air further. Michael intertwined his fingers and gave a fake sigh. We welcome many guests. Not all are serious buyers. Without an appointment or verification, we usually recommend models more suited to realistic needs. More suitable? Realistic needs. Each word cut through Isabella's pride like a blade. She lifted her head, eyes flickering with quiet fire. I've done thorough research, and the Avalon GT is the only model I'm interested in. Michael gave a bland smile. Research is great, but experience tells us many customers need a bit of guidance. Isabella clenched her purse strap. What are you saying? We have many certified pre-owned vehicles, reliable, budget-friendly, perfect for those new to luxury cars. New to luxury. Budget-friendly. Each phrase stabbed at her dignity. She knew very well. It wasn't that she couldn't afford it. It wasn't the car that was out of reach. It was that, from the very first glance, they had decided she didn't belong. She took a deep breath, voice steady. I want to test drive the Avalon GT today. Michael and Jonathan exchanged glances, half pity, half mockery. Michael smiled, one that never reached his eyes. Sorry, but our policy doesn't allow luxury car test drives without financial verification. No exceptions. Then Jonathan delivered the final blow, loud enough for the whole showroom to hear. No money, no test drive. The room froze. Eyes turned to Isabella. Whispers began to ripple. A cold wave of humiliation swept over her, as if stripped bare in this glittering world. Her fingers clenched her phone. Her heart ached, not from shame, but from the glaring injustice. Stay calm, Isabella. This is why you came. She rose gracefully. Thank you for your time. But she didn't leave. Number, she would wait. For the final act. Her footsteps echoed across the cold tiles, followed by a wave of curious gazes. She was no longer ignored. She had become the center of attention in this million-dollar stage. From the glass office, Michael stepped out, voice loud enough for all to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, please note, he said, voice sweet but sharp. We have procedures to protect valuable assets. Test drives are only permitted after financial verification, no exceptions. Jonathan stood beside him, a smug smile creeping back. Isabella turned, her gaze clear. I understand your policy, but I also understand how you've chosen to apply it. Michael chuckled awkwardly. We treat all guests equally. Isabella tilted her head, smiling, not in agreement, but in understanding the whole performance. At a showroom corner, a man in a t-shirt and jeans was being handed the keys to test drive a car equivalent to the Avalon GT. Isabella pointed, "That guest isn't wearing a suit or showing documents." Michael glanced and gave a forced smile. "He's a regular. We already have his file." "How convenient," Isabella said, voice tinged with bitterness. "How timely." Jonathan interjected, "If you provide your documents, we'd be happy to offer a more suitable model." More suitable. Each word twisted around her pride like a dull blade. Isabella clenched her bag strap. Number. She wouldn't leave, she would wait, because he was coming. 11:20 a.m. The glass door spun gently, and Nathan Carter walked in. No fanfare, no introduction. Just a tall man in a fitted charcoal suit, salt and pepper hair glowing under the light and eyes sharp as blades. The showroom halted. Jonathan, standing near the counter, straightened immediately, flashing his most respectful smile. "Good morning, sir." Jonathan bowed. "Welcome to Lakeview Elite Motors. I'm Jonathan. A pleasure to serve you today." Nathan nodded slightly. "I'm interested in the Avalon GT," he said, voice deep and firm. Jonathan lit up. "Wonderful, sir. The black model is available now. I can present it immediately." "Lead the way," Nathan replied. From the lounge area, Isabella watched. A faint smile appeared on her lips. Same showroom, same car. The only difference, the suit. In full view of the stunned crowd, Nathan paused before the Avalon GT. The very car Isabella was denied. Jonathan suddenly became overly enthusiastic, listing every feature like a curated museum exhibit. Twin-turbo V8 engine, handcrafted Italian leather interior, premium surround sound system. Every detail delivered with reverence Isabella had never received. From the glass office, Michael Thornton had also noticed. Realizing the big fish had entered, he rushed forward, his smile as bright as neon. "Good day, sir." He extended a hand. "I'm Michael Thornton, sales director here. An honor to welcome you to Lakeview Elite Motors." Nathan shook his hand, firm and calm. "Nathan Carter," he said. His name rang out, clear, but none of them recognized it. They were too used to judging by watches, shoes, and handbags, forgetting that true power often comes dressed in simplicity. Michael turned to Jonathan, beaming. "We'll arrange a private test drive for Mr. Carter immediately." But Nathan spoke up, voice calm, yet icy. "Before the test drive, I'd like to invite my wife to join me." Silence fell. "Your wife?" Jonathan stammered. Nathan nodded, eyes locking on the woman in the cream cardigan sitting quietly in the lounge. "Isabella," he called, voice warm yet commanding. "Come here, love." The entire showroom froze. The ones who mocked, the ones who ignored, now stared, wide-eyed. She rose, each step as graceful and poised. Like a dancer taking the stage she was meant for, Isabella stood beside her husband, as equals, not a step behind. She took his hand, gentle yet firm. "He wants me to test drive the Avalon GT with him, the one your staff refused me." Nathan raised a brow, turning to Michael. "Oh?" "I'd love to hear more about your special policies for customers like my wife." The air turned heavy with tension. Heads lowered, fake smiles vanished. The show was over. Judgment had arrived. The humble woman in the luxury showroom. A silent victory, and the transformation sparked by someone no one noticed. Existing content remains unchanged. Nathan raised a brow, turning to Michael. "Oh, I'd love to hear more about your special policies for customers like my wife." The air turned heavy with tension. Heads lowered. Fake smiles vanished. The show was over. Judgment had arrived. Michael fumbled for words. "Mr. Carter, please understand. We were merely following protocol to protect high-value assets." Nathan crossed his arms, his gaze turning cold as steel. "Your showroom requires financial verification before luxury test drives, correct?" Michael nodded. "Yes, that's correct." Nathan tilted his head, his eyes cutting like a blade. Then why was the man in a t-shirt and jeans, no appointment, no documents, allowed to test drive the Roadster S-Line? The entire showroom fell silent. Michael stammered, "He's a regular customer. We have his records." Nathan let out a short laugh, cold as metal. "Ah, so financial verification is subjective, based on your sense of wealth?" "No, it's not that," Nathan cut in, voice deep and commanding. "He looked richer than my wife, didn't he?" The question hit like a slap across the room. Isabella stepped forward, her voice calm but sharp. "I asked politely. I requested a fair opportunity. You didn't turn me down because I lacked the means. You dismissed me because of the way I looked, because I didn't fit your image of a valuable customer." She lifted her chin, voice firm. "And you humiliated me, publicly, in front of your entire showroom." Nathan turned to Michael, his gaze now heavy with finality. "Do you know who just acquired Lakeview Elite Motors?" Michael froze. "I was told it was a major corporation." Nathan pulled a silver business card from his jacket and placed it on the reception desk. Under the showroom lights, the embossed letters gleamed. Nathan Carter, Chairman, Carter Auto Group. The entire showroom held its breath. Michael went pale. Jonathan's mouth dropped open. The staff who had mocked Isabella now couldn't lift their heads. Nathan didn't shout. He didn't slam the table. His presence and the truth were enough to shake the foundation of a broken service culture. Isabella turned to Jonathan, her eyes now ice. "Do you remember what you said earlier? No money, no test drive." "An interesting slogan," she said with a smile, one that cut deeper than anger. Jonathan turned red, stammering. I'm sorry. I didn't know." "Exactly," Isabella said firmly. "Because you never cared to know. Because you never cared, period. And every customer deserves respect, regardless of who they are." Nathan faced the remaining staff, his tone decisive. "I came today to observe operations before announcing our acquisition. And what I witnessed is a toxic service culture, full of bias, arrogance, and disrespect. Tomorrow, the quality and compliance team from Carter Auto Group will arrive. All staff will be reevaluated, and I will ensure this. Only those who understand that every customer deserves dignity will stay." His words struck like a final verdict. Michael Thornton stood frozen, struck dumb. Jonathan was speechless, his confidence crumbled. Isabella gently squeezed Nathan's hand, her silent, "Thank you." Together, they walked out of the showroom, through the same glass door she had entered that morning in humiliation. But now, behind them, were bowed heads, pale faces, and a lesson deeply etched: never underestimate the quiet, never judge by appearance, and never forget, dignity is not for sale. 1 month later, morning sunlight streamed through the towering windows of Lakeview Elite Motors, bathing the polished marble floors in gold. The space remained luxurious, still high-end. But something had changed, not in the decor, but in the air, in the people. No more icy arrogance, no more sneering glances, only sincere welcome, warm and equal. The glass doors turned slowly, and Isabella stepped inside. Same simple white blouse, same familiar cream cardigan. The same old flats were once laughed at. No red lipstick, no luxury purse, no diamonds. But this time, no looks of disdain, no scrutiny, only quiet respect. A young staff member stepped up, smiling warmly. "Good morning, ma'am. Welcome to Lakeview Elite Motors. I'm Thomas. It's a pleasure to assist you today." No forced politeness, no condescending charm. Isabella smiled softly, a gentle emotion swelling in her chest, like spring sunlight. "I'd like to see the Avalon GT," she said quietly. Thomas nodded instantly, without hesitation. "Of course, ma'am. We have one available. If you'd like, I can arrange a test drive right away." No questions about her bank account, no skeptical glances. Only respect, simple and complete. Thomas guided her past gleaming luxury vehicles. Isabella glanced around. An elderly man in a plaid shirt was being offered free coffee. A young woman in a worn coat was receiving a full-feature walkthrough of her dream sedan. A student in tattered shoes was invited to test drive. No conditions, no judgment. No one dismissed. No one was humiliated. no one ignored, and she knew. She had helped make that possible. Thomas stopped in front of the Avalon GT, black and gleaming, engine ready. He opened the door and bowed slightly. "The keys are ready for you." Isabella slipped into the handcrafted Italian leather seat. Her hand gripped the wheel, eyes closing for a moment as she breathed in the scent of new leather mingled with silent triumph. On the second floor, Nathan stood quietly, watching. He didn't wave. He didn't come down. He only nodded, a nod of pride. Nothing needed to be said. She understood. The car glided along the cobbled city streets, the engine humming with quiet power. Winter wind brushed through the window, golden light shining on the dashboard. And Isabella, once mocked for her simplicity, now drove with steady hands and clear eyes. No scrutiny, no scorn, no one questioned her worth over the brands she wore. Only her and the road ahead. And a quiet pride, not for defeating others, but for standing up for herself. And for everyone who had ever been made to feel small. When she returned the car, Thomas was already waiting. "How was it, ma'am?" Isabella unbuckled the seatbelt and stepped out, sunlight touching her hair. "It was wonderful," she said softly. "Both the car and the way I was treated today." Thomas flushed with pride. "We are honored to serve you." He didn't ask about her income. He didn't look at her shoes. He simply gave her what every person deserves: unconditional respect. Isabella took one last look at the showroom. In one corner, an elderly man sipping coffee with a young staff. In another, an old woman being carefully guided through every car function. A modestly dressed father and daughter were welcomed as esteemed guests. No hierarchy, no status games. Just people, treated like people. Isabella stopped at the center of the showroom, eyes lifting to the new brass plaque etched on the marble wall. Lakeview Elite Motors, prestige is not in what you wear. It's in how you're treated. She smiled. No one recognized who she was, and that didn't matter. Because this wasn't about her anymore. It was about real change. Nathan waited outside, by their car. He said nothing, just held out his hand, and she took it. They walked away together, into the golden morning light. No need to look back. Because what truly mattered was left behind, in silence, but with undeniable weight. And now, if you're reading this, have you ever been judged by how you looked? Have you ever won quietly but changed the world? If this story touched you, remember this. True worth isn't something you wear. It's how you live. And the quietest victories are the ones that last the longest.